Okay, I'll have a booming voice here. Um, so I've got a kind of a lot of information to cover and not much time. I'll do my best to get through it. Hopefully we can have some time for some questions later. Can I change the slide now for you? Okay. So Cyber Locksmith is just basically a company of one. That's just me. Um, but it's a cool name. I liked it. Um, so what I'm going to talk about is, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming to the presentation. I know you have a lot of choices available to you, and I'm honored that you chose my presentation. So what I'm hoping to offer here is basically a black box type of approach. I'm not going to make any assumptions about what your web application security effort is, where you are, if you're just getting started, if you're long. What I'm hoping to do is just share with you what's worked with me in terms of a roadmap and kind of communicating all the steps that are involved with securing web application and maybe some of the hurdles that you may have in terms of going up against maybe some traditional security folks that don't quite understand the specific needs of web application security. So why a roadmap? You're going to hear me use the word proactively manage expectations over and over again, and it certainly applies to security. But in speaking with other colleagues doing other business development, other work, they say proactively managing expectations totally applies to every single profession. You may think manage expectations is all you need, but you don't want to manage expectations after the fact. What I'm trying to impress upon you is that if you understand your roadmap, you can communicate effectively the steps wherever you are in the whole process. You can communicate much better what you need to do to secure the web application. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to be blindsided by anything. You don't want to be caught off guard. You want to proactively communicate everything you need to do up front. And that's what I'm trying to share with you to the best of your ability. Hopefully you can take this presentation and muck with it, build it, change it around, whatever it takes for you to communicate better what needs to be done in your web application security effort. You're going to find that sometimes you feel like you're a long way from home with web application security because you're going to be fighting some turf battles. But just hang in there. Hopefully I can give you some help here. So I got a couple of slides just to get out of the way first before we get into the actual presentation. So I'm offering at this point that web application security is still very much in its infancy. We may agree to disagree as to how much of an infancy we are in, but I think it's kind of still getting started. I have an operations security background. I've done traditional pen tests. And I will tell you that sometimes your traditional operations security guys don't quite understand the risk associated with web application security. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time educating people. And you may have to educate the same person more than once. So that's just the way it is. Many companies are actually wrestling with who takes web application security ownership because it is so new. You may find yourself being the person who now has ownership of all web app security in your company or wherever you are. And you may find yourself wrestling with some decisions that were made before you took on that responsibility. So I'm hopefully going to offer you some ways to kind of step back and make sure that you don't miss the foundational pieces that you need to be working on in order to be successful. There's no clear separation right now between web application security stops and operations security begins. This is what I find to be the biggest struggle. Sometimes the operations security guys may feel threatened by your focus on web application security. They may feel like you're coming in late in the game and telling them what to do, but the reality is that some of the operations security decisions that were made a while ago may not have been consistent with what you need if you're focusing on web application security. So it's just something to think about. The audience, if you or your company doesn't quite understand how to manage web application security risk, you are the one that's been assigned ownership of web application security and you're not exactly sure where to begin. Maybe you're engaged in a turf battle with operations security or other guys. So I'm hoping to help you there. And again, you need to proactively manage your expectations because you don't want to be blindsided at any point in the process. hoping to let you know that you're not alone if you think that you are having these problems, because a lot of us are wrestling with these same problems every single day. Web application security is very new still, even though it's been around for a long time. Web apps aren't going away anytime soon. So if you are a talented information security person, web app security is really where you need to be, I think. We're looking for more of the brightest minds to be in this area. If I can offer a roadmap for the next steps, hoping that will help you build the confidence of your peers and, more importantly, your management. I'm going to offer you some vendor solutions for various steps along the ways, and I'll try and pull some numbers that you can do for your CapEx and other budget type of expectations, just so you've got some ideas about how to approach that. The key is, again, proactively manage the expectations of senior management so they know all the steps that are involved. And I'm really here to help you succeed. Okay, no vendors were harmed during the making of this presentation. All I'm trying to say here is that this presentation is vendor agnostic. I know a lot of the vendors, I know the reps. You will end up relying on the vendors. There's a lot of religious battles out there about whether WAFs are mature enough yet. I venture to speculate that they are mature enough and they will help you immensely if you find the WAF that's correct for your environment. So again, I am vendor agnostic. There are certain vendors that will work better for your environment than other vendors, than other environments. So just make sure that you look through the vendors that I present to you and find the one that's right for you. This, I think, is the most important slide, even though it's probably the least information on it. Because basically what I'm trying to say here is that if you look on the, I've chosen to present what I'm hoping to tell you here in a way that if you look at above the line, this is building a foundation. You can use the analogy of building a house, if you will. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to be working on the second floor windows if you haven't actually poured the foundation correctly. You can do the stained glass window of the second floor while you're pouring the foundation. If you actually want to overlap, that's fine. But all I'm trying to say here is that unless you build a foundation, unless you do the items that are listed above the line first, you're always going to be running the risk of not being as successful as you can be. And this really isn't rocket science. This is basically pretty simple stuff. First thing you want to do is, if you're coming in late in the game and there's some decisions that you have to make and you don't really know where you are, you know your pants are down, but you're not sure if they're down to your ankles, maybe they're down to your knees. You don't really know how far your pants are down. So you have to look at you have to figure out where your application vulnerabilities are. You have to find them. If you can't find them, how can you fix them? So first thing you do is you have to find them, and then you have to address them. And I'm going to offer some solutions about how you go about addressing them. And once you find them and you address them, you want to monitor for new ones. This isn't rocket science, so I'm just trying to flesh out the simple tasks so you understand you don't miss anything. And then you want to decide upon a threat classification framework. This is kind of critical because at some point you're going to have to communicate to the rest of the team and the rest of the security folks how you classify a specific risk. And it's going to be probably some multivariable equation. I happen to really like, I'll talk about the Web App Security Consortium threat classification scheme. I actually like that one, but you can choose whichever one works for you. And then develop a web application incident response plan. This, I think, is key, and I'll talk about this more later. So on the bottom half, I have internal projects. And what you're probably finding